Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, May 3rd, 2018, and you're joining me here on Morning Light. I just want to welcome you all back. And today we're going to continue talking about Joseph in the story of which he was left for dead. He was put in a pit and then to a prison and then finally made it to the palace. So just want to continue on this little series we have going this week and continue to talk about his life and how things ended up for him and what we can also do and take away from his story that is encouragement to us. And no matter where, if we are in the pit, if we are in the prison, or if we even get to the palace, how we're to conduct ourselves. So good morning, everybody. Hey, Lori and Judy and Renee and Matt. Let's see, and Scott, everybody that's joining in. Jennifer, hey, everybody. Good to see you guys all up and at it. It's going to be a beautiful day, nice and muggy and warm, which we've been waiting for, but I also hear there's some thunderstorms coming. So hang in there. Hope you guys have everything battened down, and be safe as you're traveling out there today. So I just want to pick up in a verse that I know many of you are familiar with, but something that is very, very hard to do. And we can read about it in Philippians 2:14. And it says this: do everything without complaining or arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure, children of God, without fault in a crooked and depraved generation. Now, this verse I picked for one reason is because I think Joseph lived a lot like this. No matter what his circumstance was, that he must have shown a different kind of integrity, a different kind of personality, a different kind of stance, no matter where he was at. Because remember yesterday we talked about that he found favor with his masters, and Potiphar was the ruler. He could interpret dreams, Joseph could, and he also must have done well in the sight of them. So he did not necessarily live the prisoner's life that many others would have, because he was different. He chose to live differently. And I have to think that Joseph had to have lived somewhat like this verse, that he didn't go around complaining about his circumstances. Did he feel sad? I bet. Was he down in the dumps? Sure. When he was beaten and left for dead, his brothers left him in a pit. And then, of course, his father thinks he's killed, and the years and loss of his relationships just with his dad, even if his brothers didn't want him. For 13 years, this process happened until the famine came and they had to go see him in Egypt. So get in those verses. It's in Genesis 39 to chapter 39 to 50 in the chapters of Genesis. It's a great, great story, favorite of all time in mine. But remember yesterday we talked about in Genesis 39:2 that says the Lord was with Joseph so that he prospered and lived in the house of Potiphar. So let's get back to our verse today, though, about doing everything without complaining. Listen to the Message version. I love this, and I'm going to read just a couple more verses after that. It says, do everything readily and cheerfully. No bickering, no second guessing allowed. Now let's just stop there for just 1 second. How many of you do everything readily, which means quickly, and on task, and do it when you're asked to do it, and then cheerfully, and then with no bickering and no second guessing, going like, oh, are you sure God really wanted me to do that? Is that really what I'm supposed to be doing? So this is a verse that says, just get out there and do it with a happy face. Do it with a cheerful heart. Don't do it begrudgingly. So here, let me continue. It says, go into the world uncorrupted, a breath of fresh air in this squalid and polluted society. Well, we know this the society is that today. It is a squalid kind of world. It's kind of a mad, crazy world. And this verse is saying, go out into the world yourself, uncorrupted, and be a breath of fresh air. Isn't it great when you meet somebody that is just so loving and kind and just full of life, and you're like, wow, where did you come from? It's almost like an oddity or the minority, because life is so, people are so angry and so full of hate and venomous speech, and so it's so good to find somebody that's just a breath of fresh air. Let me keep going. Provide people with a glimpse of good living and of the living God. So they're going to ask you, like we talked about yesterday, about where does your hope come from? You can say, my hope comes in Christ. And then carry the light-giving message into the night, so all have good cause to be proud of you on the day that Christ returns. So the writer of Philippians is saying, go out into the world, be a bright light. And one version says, shine like stars in a wretched and depraved world. Would you be willing to be like that for Christ? Would you be willing just to be that as a person, that you would be so different, just like Joseph, that you would catch the eye of your master, of your boss, of a pastor, of other people? Would you catch the eye of God, of being like, boy, they're different. You know, they're living like my son Christ. I can see Jesus in them. And that's our ultimate goal, is to become like him as we live in this wretched and depraved world. So would you do things without complaining like Joseph? Would you be set apart? Would you be a different kind of person, no matter the circumstance? That's the thing, because remember, we can be happy-go-lucky, and when all of our world is a great place and our bank accounts are full, our cars are all running on all four wheels, our kids are getting straight A's and in the schools they want to, you and your husband love each other, when everything is really, really good, your house is clean, the dishes are done, the laundry's put away, that's a rarity, if ever possible. Would you be willing to not complain about when all of those things aren't done, when all of your world may be crashing in? Would you be willing not to complain if you are in somewhat of a prison, or sometimes when your circumstance, like we've talked with Joseph, isn't ideal? It's not what you would have for your life. Would you be willing to live this verse out, Philippians 2:14? Do everything without complaining, bickering, arguing, murmuring. It's a great, great verse to live on, to camp on. Read all the versions, because I think it's really important that we get the context. If you don't understand this one, go on and find one that does. No matter what you're facing, God is watching. And not only is God and all the heavens watching, but other people are watching. And I kind of touched on that yesterday in my own personal life. Would your faith be something that causes people to want to come to Christ? Or would your life be something that would make someone stumble and fall and say, I want no part of your God. I don't want to even know what your life is like. Live in a way that people look to you and say, what is different? One of our biggest true tells of our life is what comes out of our mouth. Are you a gossip? Are you slander? We talked about this last week. Do you... is there malice? Is there just this anger and angst amongst you that, you know, you can put on a smile and talk and act really happy, but what is coming out of your mouth? And this is one of those verses, again, that do everything without complaining or arguing, that tells truly what's going on in your heart. And people can read your heart because of what's coming out of your mouth. 1 Corinthians 10:31 and 32 says, so when you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. And then verse 32 says, do not cause anyone to stumble. Now, this is talking about Greek and Jew, and you know, don't be judgmental because someone maybe come from a different religion, or they don't eat a certain way. You know, some people won't eat pork and won't touch certain things because of their religion. But the key verse in there, so whatever you do it for the glory of God. And I just want to encourage you today to go out and live just like that. Whatever you're doing, if that's the dishes, this doesn't mean from necessarily a ministry point or the church, which you all are in ministry just to your family, at your job site, wherever. If it's just being with your kids at home, that's a ministry that God's called you into. But would you mop your floors? Would you clean the toilets? Would you love your spouse? Would you take care of your kids? Would you drive to work, not road rage? Would you drive for the glory of the Lord? Whatever you do it for him, so that you would cause no one to stumble. I know myself, we go to Columbus so much, and there's people driving in Columbus is absolutely crazy. I've been able to lose my witness on 270 and 315 going to the James, and that is something that, could that person tell that I was a follower of Christ? And sometimes probably not. And some of you probably have those instances in your life too. Could you get and sit in traffic and do it without complaining? Could you have to wait in line for the person that brought 25 items instead of 10? I mean, those real life situations, would you be able to do it without complaining And then whatever you do, do it for the glory of the Lord. So I just want to encourage you all today to be a bright spot. Be like this in Philippians. Shine like a star in a really, really dark place. You know, the lights shine brighter when it's darkest. And we are living in a really, really dark time. That cannot be disputed at all. If you don't think it is, you're living under a rock. And so I don't have to tell you guys something that you don't already know. We are in some really rough times. But your light can shine even brighter because we are in that dark space. We are in that time when Christ is coming. They say the end times will get worse, and you can be that hope that people are looking for. We are in a world that people are just reaching, grasping for straws to heal their hurt. So you could be that person. Be careful not to allow someone else to stumble. Do everything without complaining, arguing, or bickering. Go out and just show them the love of Christ. If you need that, you need to find that love from him. Call out to him. He will give that to you. So I know it's hard when you're hurting to love, and hurting people hurt people. And so that's really important. If you're the person hurting, get help. Find some healing. God is in the business of healing people. So just want to encourage you all today. Tomorrow's Friday. It sounds like summer is finally here. Spring has sprung. The flowers are out. Warm days, but with those come thunderstorms. So today, be careful out there. Have a great Thursday. Talk soon. Bye-bye.